the guru who I avenged, who taught me the biggest lesson of life. So, if you guys know, I've been stalked by a Mexican gang for a very long time, and that Mexican gang has been haunting me ever since I've been in elementary school, always giving me hints, always doing this and that. A gang that tried to affiliate my brother but failed because of their lack of education. What this gang does is it imitates the Blood Gang, and this specific type of gang is only exclusive to California. It doesn't really reach out much. It's only exclusive to Latinos and some other races, but is prominently Latino. And the worst part about this is they believe in racism. They believe in everything without recognizing that we live in a free country, and they try to conquer land and fail every single time. So I'll put it like this. A bunch of hints were trying to say that I should join their gang. Ever since I was young, I first got offered when I was junior high through street code. There was a whole bunch of Latina girls, at least 10, 20 of them, that were put right in front of my face in the beginning of my 8th grade year, where I wore a Reese's colored striped shirt with sleeves. And it really devastated me where I figured out all this time was. I've always considered gangs stupid, I've always considered gangs illiterate, but I didn't know why. And my older brother told me that they're just dumb and that all they do is do graffiti, drink beers, and literally smoke weed all day. They don't really have a life, but what they do is if you test them, they put a gun to your head, which is really uneducated. But to a lot of people, if your life's on the line, okay, of course you have to submit, but they don't get past the fear factor, and that is what makes this gang very weenie. And this is the story about how this guy was one of the big leaders of this gang, literally the big guru that helped all their supplies, that used to bench over 300. Now he weighs over 300 pounds, but now he is deceased. This guy's name was the Guru. A name I called him specifically because he taught me a life lesson to stay away from gangs and to literally continue doing your anime, continue doing what you want to do, continue being nice to people, and it will be rewarded. And the reason why he is fat and the reason why he was obese was because he used to be the strongest at one point, and what happened was this: he was the smartest at one point too. He's the guy who literally bred children, did everything that the fallen members couldn't, that the former members couldn't, was literally the real gangster that literally helped all of his young ones prosper, and they disrespected him the moment he tried telling them the truth. But let's backtrack a little bit to why this is a very long journey of why I have been stalked by this specific gang, but they kept silent. What this gang does is they evaluate a person and they put stuff in front of their face in order to see what they're gonna do. Similar to when you throw a punch in a fight and you see how the person reacts. This gang has a bad reputation of losing members because of the basic principle. They used to have this thing where you can't go to school and you can't graduate school if you want to join that gang. So what that gang does is they give you a choice when you enter junior high. Do you want to bang or not? And I chose to live an actual life. But I ended up on the street because that gang secretly harassed me. But they're in cahoots with another gang that I cannot make a video for. But this video is 100% necessary because this gang operates at an elementary school level. They train their members to not go to school because they see that school is pointless and that's all about money and bitches. When a lot of gangs kind of operate like that, but they also know why college is important. So instead of robbing actual banks and actually doing big time criminal offenders, what happens is this: they steal from people instead of actual big companies, instead of actual banks, and they keep at elementary school level because they don't know the importance of real money and they don't know that they're stuck in rotation. So most of them are just drug dealers and shooters and chronic harassers to literally let people know that they operate in silence and they do stuff behind the scenes. This gang can't really be seen in public, but they fake being civilians. And what they do for the side is some of them rap, some of them do this and that, but they'll ever have anything that makes them have big profit. And that's why they operate at elementary school level, because they don't know the importance of education, because there are holes in their stories. So what they do is they cut out everything out, and they literally cover it up with their gang activity. They take a little bit of piece of elementary school to literally trick you. What they do is they pull white people moves, like they will make white people jokes in order to be incognito of their Mexican gangster. Justin is a big example of the jokes that they make, but they do it in order to hide their criminal activity. They act white to fit in, but then they drop out of public school anyway. People don't see the whole, and that what they do is they act civilized on the outside, so when you call them out, I'm not doing anything, I'm gonna stand in line. He's like, nigga, you fucked my sister. He's like, what? That's how they operate. They literally fall back on the paper, even though they have a criminal record, even though they have criminal activity of the Yang Gang, it doesn't matter. They will catch you, but they can't catch you in reality. They can only catch people who drop out at an elementary school level, which is why this is an elementary school gang. And you can't surpass elementary school from not being that gang. They choose their life right away, and they harass women. They do everything. They conquer territory, but they don't know that they're not conquering anything. So what this guru tried to tell me was multiple times while I was getting rejected in school. So it all came back to the cheerleader incident. When they shoved a capsule in front of my face, they were doing all that stuff. They were making sexual gestures, but they weren't backing up with the actions. And when they do that, is that because they were Latina, they were actually affiliated with them. So here's what happened. I remembered all that is to make sure I join a gang. It's to make sure I drop out of school. It's to make sure I have them on their side. I hung out with a couple of them my junior year in high school, but it wasn't too detrimental because the members of that gang that did hang out with me told me to stay out the way. They kept on trying to pay me homage over and over again. This guy is literally dating a girl that rejected me at school, and he tried to offer me the blunt, and the girl's like, no, don't give him that blunt. And he got hella fucking mad, and he brought me to the side the other day. He's like, it's not the fact that I don't like you, it's just that I literally get in trouble for fucking with you because they want you to get into trouble because you look like you're a gangster, but I know you're a good person. I don't want you to do criminal activity. I think you're hella cool. I think you have a bright future, and I'm here to protect that future. One of the highest members of the gang throw me to the side, and these both were underlings of the Grandmaster Guru. So the Grandmaster Guru's job was to make sure they all had weed, and make sure they all had their supplies for criminal activity. He was the kind of guy to hide guns under his stomach. Really, really, really fat. Even fatter than Uncle Jay, but literally was one of the best fighters at one time, but quit for a good reason. He turned into an internet nerd and literally stayed making plans for the gang, and he literally is stuck with a whole bunch of sorrow, but what keeps him content is that he has a family and that he's keeping his family safe with his strategy on top of strategy, and he is a good, not only a good father figure, but one of the prime examples of what a real gangster is versus a bad guy who's literally just a kid who uses guns. So what happened was this, is I was hanging with him one day, and they tried to tell me, I'm like, I don't get it, I don't have any friends in school. All they talk about is who they fucked and how many people they knocked out. And so the guru literally told me the truth. He's like, hey, out all my years of being a gangster, no real gangster advertises how many people they knocked out or how many people they fucked. Or at least they don't go bragging about it. And I realized that when I was older, that if you brag about it, that gets you targeted, and that gets you killed, and that gets you a whole bunch of trouble that you don't need. And he drove me to the side. He's like, you don't want to live that lifestyle. And he literally had people protect me from that lifestyle, but that all went to shit the day where I learned how to actually get bitches, how to actually get pussy, how to actually get what they risked their whole lives for. I even tried to tell them the street messages after street messages, and that was what last year was all about. I was being stalked by the gang in person because they got tired of playing behind the scenes. Now they had to step forward, and they got rocked because I fight to survive. I don't fight to fit in. And I learned you only fight back when they're worse. You only do bad things when they're doing worse. You do bad things in the form of self-defense because they take advantage of the fact that it's a cruel world. But they can only attack people who drop out of college. They can only drop out people that literally fall for the forbidden fruit. but that doesn't mean that it's forever in your system. What you can do is that you can fulfill yourself with better things in life, better habits that literally take you away from that street activity and makes you think on a high level. My dad stopped doing drugs for a reason. My dad used to be above all those gangsters because of what he learned from them getting high. He's like, you know how stupid they look getting high? You know, doing this and that. I have my mind clear, so all my strategies are concrete. So literally, my dad was the soberest out of the soberest gangster you will ever know. And he literally chose to not smoke weed. He chose to not drink for that very reason, because it clouds your head. It gives you a delusion of what life is and makes you think you're shit when you're not. And my dad literally is still sober to this day, because that's how he fools his enemies that still smoke and drink. All that shit was presented to me in the form of join this gang. When they were stuck into that gang. So what ended up happening is this. I ended up having to fight a couple of their gang members this year. I ended up knocking them out. I ended up defeating them. And I kept on telling them, it's better to be a good person. It's better to be a good person. Over and over again, you have to literally stop this reckless street lifestyle. It's because I think on a community college level, but you guys bribe me at community college is why I'm better than all of you. I can get bitches better than you. I can rap better than you. I can dance better than you. I can do everything that your street life practices better than you, because I realized the street life isn't shit. And they didn't listen. And they kept on recruiting people after recruiting people. It's like, hey, you see this guy that we're stalking through the droid just constantly talking to himself? This guy's crazy. Without telling them full story that I already fucked up a couple of your members. And they tried fucking with me over and over and over again, and they get defeated every time. So what this gang does is that's a part of their strategy. They specialize in harassing people in order for you to give in. That's like they harassed me in high school, but they harassed through the shadows. They literally make life uncomfortable for you to live, so you're forced to join that gang. But if you have strong will and you know what's right, you will never join that gang, especially if you have an extended mind. They conquer territory, they hide women from people, and they threaten you with guns if you ever get close to a woman. I'm like, dude, that's what keeps you guys away from bitches. That's what keeps you away from getting what you want. You guys aren't real gangsters, you're just pretenders, because literally what happens is they try shooting me over and over again, try shooting me this and that, and I literally step to the side every single time. Step to the side, the bullets run out, step to the side, and I knock you out once we have an equal playing field. I destroyed hundreds on top of hundreds of their members, and they still come at me. What they're trying to do is they don't know that they're operating against an anteater when they're all just ants. I tried telling them over and over and over again, it's not going to work because you rely on something I have already surpassed. You rely on hip-hop where I actually listen to Eminem. I listen to real rap where you listen to party rap that's about sipping lean all day. I listen to lyrical rap where you listen to rap talking about how many bitches they fucked. They may go into detail, they may have relatability, but they don't have responsibility. They have the mindset, oh, I'm gonna shoot the manager, and then I'm gonna become the manager by wearing his outfit. I'm like, okay, you didn't do what the manager did to get that job. You didn't train in school to get that manager position. You're fucking dumb because you literally put two and two together without doing your research, and you think that you're the shit when really you're an uneducated buffoon that bulldozes with the society. So what if you literally have all this validation on the outside, you're not getting what you want? They don't know that they're gassing themselves up. They failed over and over again, and they feel like quantity is going to get in the way of quality. It's never ever going to work that way. I'm sorry, we live in a multi-dimensional world where you have to think multi-dimensionally to survive. And literally, here's what's going on. So literally, I got to a point where I even mated with some of their women, stole some of their women from them, got some of their women sprung, and they literally still try to do the same thing over and over again. You ain't shit, you don't have a lot of friends and stuff like that. It's because I don't have a lot of friends, it's because you don't know my true personal habits. You don't know me as a person, therefore you cannot get over me. You haven't known me for all this time. You don't know what I've been through, you don't know this and that, and you've always had someone to rely. I've only relied on myself. And I get stronger and stronger and stronger every day while you stay the same, doing the same strategies, thinking that it's going to work. And so it finally got to a point where they get to the guru because he's at a high status of their gang, and they ask the guru, hey, there's this one guy who's dominated our woman, who's defeating us as on our own games. So when we look at him through the droid, all he's doing is watching cartoons and playing video games. How can this nerd be dominating us in everything when we dedicated our entire lives to the game? And the guru told them, where I tell everyone, he's like, he's been there, done that. He actually gets real pussy when you guys pretend to get pussy. And so the guru isn't in his prime, and the guru is fat. And so these kids did the most emotional decision. Instead of thinking logically, what they did was they took advantage of the fact that guru wasn't in his prime and that guru was fat, and they shot guru, knowing that he couldn't do what I can do. I'm not fat, so I can move in and out of their bullets, and I can knock them out once they run out. But the guru was forced to sit still, and the guru has fallen. And once I knew that, I got infuriated and literally defeated all of their fucking gang members at once. When they all tried to jump me, when they all tried to shoot me with cars, I'm like, this is why you can't defeat me. How dare you destroy somebody who has such a positive message? How dare you destroy somebody who tried to defend the nerds and literally tried to tell them why it's better to be a nerd than a try-hard gangster, why you shouldn't fiend for pussy because it gets you shot. And I literally destroyed their whole philosophy, avenged the guru over and over again, took their woman and told them why it's better to be a good person. The guru was my favorite gangster. The guru was literally one of my favorite role models in life, and I didn't learn about him until afterwards. Even Mr. Pleasure had fucked with this game, but even Mr. Pleasure can do the same thing I can do when it comes to this game. Mr. Pleasure brings us a whole lot. If you wonder why he's so funny and why he's able to be that multi-dimensional, it's because he used to hang around the wrong crowd, but he stopped where he was ahead, and he ended up becoming a teacher. And him and Mr. Pleasure literally share the same message. It's better to be a good person. You can do the same thing that they can do without getting into criminal activity. I love the guru. It made me cry when I figured out that he died. And literally, so many people tried to tell these people to stop, but they don't listen. They feel like it's hard-headed. I know exactly how they operate. There was this guy who I was going mall hopping with, and literally, what happened was this. So, God was in my head when this guy is the same member of their gang. This is already back when I'm a freshman in high school, and what happened was this. I tried going to the mall, and the security guard looked at Dennis. He's like, Dennis, we already know that you're not supposed to be here. I'm gonna ask you to leave. And so Dennis is like, okay. And so him and me hop on the bus, and Dennis act like there was nothing happening. God's in my head. He's like, sexual harassment. And that's exactly what Dennis got kicked out of the mall for. And he literally showed no remorse, because guess what happened? He had a gang to fall back on. They got out, and they literally did not learn their lesson with no remorse. It's because I was scared shitless of making the same mistake again is why I learned that they didn't. And I kept on trying to tell them over and over again, you can't beat me because you don't absorb the lesson. You immediately bail out, and you literally act like nothing happened, and that is why you can't beat somebody who learned from his lesson. The guru was a very strong and prominent figure, and you know what God also told me? They wouldn't have been able to do that if he was in his prime. They pulled a bitch man move, and so they literally, that whole gang got destroyed. I destroyed their entire gang's philosophy, and they started recruiting white people, white kids in junior high, literally Indian people, whitewashed black people, all the people who fake being gangsters to keep on adding to their quality with no quality. The guru was a master. Over and over and over again, because they keep on living it easy. They don't know how to face somebody who struggles. Literally, I have the mindset, are you gonna do it or not? They're also trained to evaluate the situation. They're trained to try to fool people into their lifestyles. Like, hold up, man, I don't want to shoot you, I just want to be civilized. I'm all like, okay, well, if you don't shoot me now, I'm gonna respond, and you're not gonna like when I come back and you get hurt. Calm down, we just want to negotiate with you. We know you can beat a gun. I'm like, okay, well, let me show you how I can beat a gun. I'm a motherfucking martial artist. I didn't train in martial arts, but I trained with somebody who did martial arts. And the biggest thing that I clowned on this gang for is that gang is known for having people who actually take boxing drop out. I trained with a boxer whose brother was in that gang, and he dropped out of that gang because they don't know how to box professionally. They only fight people on the street level, so they don't know how to actually fight people who know how to fight on paper. And I literally trained with people who compete in boxing tournaments, and they don't know how to face me because that same guy got jumped by that same gang after he dropped out, and they even tried to jump in the pool, and that guy literally destroyed every single one of them because he was stronger than him. It didn't matter if they had AKs. It didn't matter if they had knives, because once he hit him with that 250-pound weight that is his fist, they couldn't do anything. He's like, man, they fucked me up with scars. Literally, they tried to stab me here and there, but you should have seen what happened to them. And that's a real man. A real man goes against all odds and is not scared of little toys. And that trainer is the same trainer that taught me and Arturo how to fight. In conclusion, the Guru was a great man with a great philosophy, who I'm glad I avenged, but I am super mad because a little kid took over his position, and now that gang is dysfunctional and they wonder why. They had a great leader who literally led their lifestyle with consistency. Now they're all breaking apart, have to move across the area. They always had to move out of the area, but this is a whole new other thing. They never had to recruit little white kids that don't know what they're doing into their gang. And that is why the Guru was the all-time master, and that they needed to respect him. But all because of their precious pussy, all that fucking gunplay, all that shit, they fell prey to the pussy. And the Guru was right. And they shot him all because he supported my factory. Instead of literally respecting him for what he gave them, they acted emotionally and shot the Guru down. And the Guru will always be known as a legend. You still have to focus on driving when you try to shoot someone with that bullet. You still has time to move to the side when you squeeze that bullet. They relied too much on the outside and their toys without actually getting things like a grown man. They lie to themselves, and that's where that gets you. The Guru had to accept the truth eventually, and that's why he was, and in my opinion, will always be the best leader of that gang.